welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today I have a weird reading vlog. So at the beginning of January, my two friends decided to indulge in my Jacob Elordi obsession and we watched Saltburn. I'm going to be straight up. I thought that this was absolutely the most perfect movie for me, and there's a wide variety of reasons why. First of all, Jacob Elordi. My king, my everything. I love that man. Second of all, it was fucking weird. And I love that. I love weird things occurring. I was not weirded out by the things that occurred, and if you watch Saltburn, you know what I'm talking about. And thirdly, I love fucked up main characters, or main characters that are not created for the consumer of the product to particularly enjoy, but there are elements of this mean or unfavorable main character that you can relate to. They are the extreme of the person that we don't want to be, but have elements of that person that we do every day kind of thing. And around the time that Saltburn was having its moment, having its renaissance, a little YouTuber named Jack Edwards posted on TikTok 3 books that you should read if you were weirded out by Saltburn.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let me hear you scream if you want some more like push it, push it.
The first of which was Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. This follows a young Jewish woman named Rachel who deals with an eating disorder every day. Counting calories is more of her religion than her Jewish identity. One day at a yogurt shop, she meets a young woman named Miriam who is hell-bent on feeding Rachel. Next was Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This follows a young woman named Natsuki who, when she was a child, believed that she is not of this earth. She is an alien compared to the rest of her family in a very literal sense. She really believes that she is from another planet, and the story follows her well into adulthood with a lot of weird shenanigans. And lastly, a book that I've been anticipating for a while, Paradise Rot by Jenny Haval. This follows a young university student named Joe who moves to a new town and into an apartment complex with another young woman who seemingly has no boundaries. So these were the 3 books I read for this Saltburn reading vlog. So I'll send you back to Kelsey 1 week ago and you can watch me read these really weird books. I think I would know how to control the lighting. I literally wasted a minute. Oh, okay. Hello, I am just about to go on my lunch break and I figured since I have a bit of time before I am going to go to the gym, I think I'm going to start this vlog. I'm so excited to read these really weird books. I love weird books. I just think they pique that little part of my brain that is fascinated with weird things. I think today I'm going to start with Milk Fed. This is by Melissa Broder and it basically follows a woman named Rachel who has made calorie restriction her religion. By day she maintains an illusion of control by way of obsessive food rituals. At night she pedals to nowhere on an elliptical machine. Then she meets Miriam. As the two grow closer, they set in motion a journey marked by appetites of physical hunger, sexual desire, and spiritual longing. So the reason that this was potentially suggested for a book like Saltburn is because I believe that it's this dynamic of one person wanting to care for another person, very much like Jacob Elordi's character with Barry Keoghan's character, and wanting to take care or take this person in that you feel like doesn't have these opportunities. And I've read from Melissa Broder before. I read The Pisces, and it was a very strange book and a little grotesque at times. And I think that that's what Melissa Broder kind of thrives upon, is this grotesque weirdness. So I can definitely see how that relates to Saltburn. I'm going to start this now. I'll probably update you when I get around the 100 page mark, which might be later tonight. So see you then. I'm finally starting this vlog and I'm so excited. Hello, so I was just jamming it out to Avril Lavigne and I wanted to come to you. Oh my God, I don't have the Milk Fed. I'll just put a picture. I am about 30% into Milk Fed, so around the 75 page mark. And I feel like this book is really interesting, as I would expect Melissa Broder to be. But so far it's not as grotesque as I think I was expecting. But just knowing her, just knowing this author, I will expect it to be. We've met the character of Miriam and we've really established Rachel's personality. So Rachel is, like the synopsis says, very focused on calories, very focused on being thin, and her value in herself comes from this relationship with food. So if you have any triggers for eating disorders, I really would not recommend reading this book. The last 70 pages have just been spent within Rachel's head, and Rachel is consistently talking about the things she ingests and how they affect her body. Miriam comes in as this character that works at the yogurt shop that Rachel frequents, and Rachel goes to this yogurt shop, just has like the bare minimum yogurt, the minimum amount of calories possible, and Miriam is kind of set on like making these more extravagant yogurt desserts for Rachel. And Rachel is slowly becoming very intrigued by Miriam. I think the grotesque elements are going to come simply because Rachel has brought up that she's starting to have feelings for Miriam, and I think that they will start to develop this relationship, and this commentary of feeding and ingesting is going to, I think, be more of an emphasis. It's already been mentioned that Rachel has sort of a mommy kink. The sucking of breasts has been mentioned already, so I can expect that to happen because obviously breasts have this symbolism of food for a child, for underdeveloped beings that we have to take care of. And I think Miriam is going to set this mommy figure for Rachel. So we're going to see how this develops. The book is quite shorter than I thought. I might come fill you in maybe when I have like 50 pages left, just so I can really talk about the like progress of the plot. However, if something more disgusting happens, I will come back.
Hello, so I haven't updated in a couple of days just because I haven't read in a couple of days. I've been so busy. It was also Valentine's Day. It's also my anniversary the day after Valentine's Day because he asked me out on Valentine's Day and I said, that's lame. Ask me out tomorrow, thanks. And so I haven't read. I've been so busy with work. So today we have definitely a chiller day. I've been taking the morning just to like catch up on some YouTube videos. My watch later is like 500 videos. I made myself a healthy smoothie. I'm probably going to go to the gym relatively soon. I'm gonna take a chill work day today, so I'll listen to Milk Fed on audio. I have to find the book. I don't even know where it is. My goal is to finish it today and then start one of these because I'm embarrassed to read Milk Fed on the metro because the cover is a giant tit. I don't want that out in public, so I have not been reading it at all. So yeah, my goal is to finish it today in the privacy of my own home, and then I'll come update you with how it relates to like saltburn, how I'm feeling about it, and I do have a couple of things that I want to mention. So I wanted to come in here because there's like a direct mention to what I wanted to talk about. But this book discusses like Jewish culture, specifically between these two women, Rachel and Miriam. And Miriam comes from a more Orthodox family and Rachel is more of a reformed Jewish woman. Miriam is consistently bringing up how her brother is a soldier for the IDF and is currently in Palestine when this book was written. Despite what people think, the ongoing conflict within Palestine and Israel has been going on for years. This book was published in 2021. What's interesting is that in a specific chapter, Rachel is at Miriam's house for Shabbat. Miriam and her family are talking about Israel as like the Holy Land and talking to her about the beauties of it. Rachel brings up, or Melissa Broder really brings up this part about discussing Gaza and the West Bank being returned to the Palestinians. They speak of this land as like a blessing, and Melissa Broder brings up like the way they spoke of this blessing, the land of milk and honey. You would not have known that people have been exiled from their homes. Their joy made me wish I could block that out too, which is crazy because we're seeing that a lot with the discussions that are happening right now with what is an ongoing political issue. I will leave a link down below to a card that provides more information on the Palestinian conflict and ways to help, ways to donate within the description down below. And so that was something I just wanted to bring up because it was subtly mentioned throughout the beginning of the book and I wasn't sure how to like really discuss it. But I think Melissa Broder really tackles a nail on the head where she's even saying like, could you will the darkness away? Could you banish it and say, no, this does not exist for me? Just obviously talking about this privilege that Miriam's family has obviously to live in New York City and be able to think of Israel and think of this conflict as something that they deserve and this beautiful place that still belongs to other people. So I thought that that was a really interesting discussion on Melissa Broder's part, and I wanted to bring it up because if you are going to read this book or plan to read this book, that is something that pops up here and there within the chapters. So I just wanted to mention that in case you wanted to go into this and just to be prepared that that discussion is happening in here.
So I haven't updated in a while because yesterday I had family over and then I went to my younger cousin's birthday party
And then today I had a day of shopping for maid of honor dresses, and then I went to my cousin's hockey game. I just came back from the gym. I went to the gym straight as I came home. Just a simple like tricep and chest workout with 20-minute on the treadmill. I'm really trying this year to be healthy, so that's the sitch. Then I ate a little cottage cheese and granola bowl. It is currently like 9 o'clock, but you know, you need to eat when you need to eat. Yesterday or the day before, I did finish Milk Fed by Melissa Broder, and I wanted to just give you my final thoughts on the book. I definitely think this isn't a book for everyone. I don't think everybody's gonna like this book, but it was exactly like the perfect kind of like weirdness that I like. Broder is once again so weird in this. If you read the Pisces, then you know how weird she can get. But I think it was a lot tamer than I expected it to be based on the reviews, and I don't know what that says about me, but it was tamer than I was expecting. The book tackles so much in the like 270 pages that it is. Our main character has very major mommy issues, as I've brought up, but I think the discussions of that surrounded by her queerness, eating issues, and Jewish identity, all tied together by this theme of hunger, was really, really fascinating. Broder has a real knack for writing these like just horrible main female characters that are also like weirdly relatable at the same time. I think Freud, RIP, you would have really loved this book. I ended up giving this 4 stars. Really enjoyed this. I think it definitely gives you like a bit of saltburn vibes, especially like the discussions surrounding like wanting to take care of another person and the obsession that comes from the individual who is being taken care of. Obviously, Rachel is very sensitive and has these mommy issues. Rachel's sort of like Barry Cogan's character. Miriam is very much like Jacob Elordi, and they're taking in this person that they want to help. And then the individual becomes this type of person that they don't really appreciate being in like their vicinity. I really enjoyed this. I was scared to read from Melissa Broder again, but I think she just hit with this one, so I'm very excited to read her next book. The next book that I'm going to read is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. The reason I'm reading this is because I have the audiobook for it from my library and it's due in 6 days and 2 people are waiting for it. So I know that I'm not going to get it back in time if I don't finish it within this time frame. All I've heard about this book is that it's really weird, like extra weird. People freak out about how like disgusting and gross it is. I've also seen themes of like cannibalism. So I don't know what we're entering in here. As a child, Natsuki believed that she was an alien, a different species to her earthling family and classmates. She hoped a spaceship would come and take her home. Now she lives quietly in an asexual marriage, pretending to be normal. But the buried horrors of Natsuki's past are pursuing her. As she flees the suburbs for Nagano Mountains and a reunion with her beloved cousin Yu, she wonders what will it take to escape the earthlings. I'm really excited. I know I like weird books. I know I like really fucked up books. But so far, every really weird book that I've ever read that people don't really like or has like these sort of mixed opinions on, I end up really enjoying. So I think I'm going to love this. I'm going to pick it up right now. This will be like my read as I'm winding down into the night. So I'll catch up with you if I have something to say from here on out. Hello, so I've read about 56 pages of Earthlings and this book is making me really sad. Like, it's very obvious that the 2 main characters in the book who believe that they are aliens are victims of abuse, whether that's parental or sexual violence that they experience from like the people around them, and they just want to escape. So they hold on to this idea that they're both from different planets so that they could escape and go to another planet and finally be home. It seems that both of them have these mother figures that tell them that they're awful and different and they don't belong with them and they're not like the rest of their family. So they really cling on to this idea that they belong together and they belong in space. So I think here we're really going to dive into this idea of abuse and what it does to children and then how it manifests into adulthood. Even though I'm only like a third of the way through, the book is already having like really interesting discussions that I know is just going to get weirder and fuck me up more from here. Hello, so I took a really lazy first half of the day. Woke up pretty late today because it is a holiday here in Canada. Then I just watched YouTube videos all morning, caught up on some of my watch later, went to the gym, took a shower, did my hair care, and now I think I'm going to, I suddenly have a burst of energy to like clean my my bedroom, but I'm also going to clean the sheets right now. It's 3 p.m. I had all day to do this, but I decided no, I'm gonna do it right now. So while I'm doing all this, I'm going to listen to the audiobook for Earthlings. Right now, I am into the adult life of Natsuki, and she is married to a man that didn't want sex from her, which is very telling to Natsuki's like upbringing, obviously, because she experienced sexual abuse at such a young age by a teacher, by someone that she was supposedly meant to trust. It's very sad to see how her mother didn't believe her at all, and now it's like very well bleeding into her adult life because it led to some issues with within the family and they don't allow them to see each other. So I have a feeling that now we're going to get to the point in their adult life where Natsuki and Yu kind of like reconnect. And I feel like this spark of them being not earthlings will reconvene, because right now Natsuki talks a lot about being a part of the factory and thinking of like human reproduction and like living in the city, living in her hometown, to be just following the factory. And because she has not had a child yet, she is feeling like she's pushing against the factory. I think that this will then become a larger thing once her and Yu reconnect, because I have a feeling they will. They're going to the same town that they used to go to when they grew up. Natsuki and her now husband, but I feel like Yu might probably be there. I have about 40 pages left in this book, and one of the trigger warnings that is listed all the time for this book is cannibalism, and it hasn't come up yet in the 200 pages so far. So I know it's coming. I'm really, 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 really enjoying this book. The ending is going to be like a make or break for me, I think, but I'm excited to mull this over and really think about my thoughts on the book, especially if what I think is coming is coming. Hello, so I'm using my microphone because my boyfriend is home and I want to talk a little lower. Not that he doesn't know that I record videos, just that I personally am embarrassed. Are people like that? Are you like that? I find like when my family's home, whether I'm at like my parents' house or here, like I'm embarrassed. Not that it should be embarrassing that you read books, but like, I don't know. I feel weird recording videos. I did in fact finish Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, and I have to say that I'm giving this 5 stars, despite it being probably the most fucked up book I've ever read in my life, and I feel wrong to give it 5 stars. I can't think of another rating for this book. Murata completely enveloped me into this world that I fully believed in the characters. Not that I would ever do or behave the way that they acted and behaved, but Murata is taking commentary on societal roles, and these characters are taking it to the extreme to move against these roles, while other people in their lives are taking it to the extreme to uphold these roles. And I think Murata is doing this by writing probably the most extreme, unhinged, wildest book by like normal reading standards, right? There's a lot of things that I won't get into details about what happens at the end of the book, but throughout the novel you're really dealing with these like really weird and extreme takes on being different in society, and I just really appreciated what Murata was doing. I think her writing was spectacular. You're really placed within the thoughts of these characters, and it's not written in a very cold way, it's written in a passionate way, and you can really tell that the characters do believe that they're aliens. And when you don't belong in society, like, it makes sense that they would believe that they would be against society and they would be aliens. I fully believed it while I was reading it. So I wouldn't recommend this book to people who don't like weird things, but if you do, I think this is probably one of the most interesting but unhinged books I've read in a while. In regards to how it relates to saltburn, I think it's really interesting because the ingesting of like a body part or an obsessive body part is a major factor in this book of like ingesting things and going against societal norms. So if you think about that one tub scene or the vampire scene in Saltburn, you can kind of get the gist of like what I'm explaining. It's really like the hunger that you have to be either included or not included, and both those takes are taken in both Saltburn and this book as well. And I think the like unhingedness or like the not understanding of the decisions that characters are making is very prevalent in both Saltburn and this. But I am still looking for a book that has the like dark academic thought process behind Saltburn that still has this like fucked up nature. I think I'm going to find it in Paradise Rot by Jenny Haval. I don't know anything about this book except that all the Goodreads reviews talk about peeing, and I don't know how to process that in a way that makes sense. Joe is in a strange new country for university, so we have that dark academia vibes, which is perfect, and having a more peculiar time than most. In a house with no walls shared with a woman who has no boundaries, she finds her strange home coming to light in unimaginable ways. Joe's sensitivity and all her senses become increasingly heightened and fraught as the lines between bodies and plants, dreaming and wakefulness blur and mesh. So I've been saving this book for last just because I think it'll be the most reminiscent to Saltburn, but we'll see, and you'll be here with me. Hello, so before I went to bed tonight, I wanted to just talk about that I got about 50 pages into Paradise Rot. Nothing crazy
has happened so far. We're basically following our main character Jo as she moves to Australia. So she's adapting to a new life, adapting to a new language, adapting to a new education system in a university, and she moves in with this character named, she has a weird name, Corral. Anyways, they live in like what is a redone factory that has been made into apartment buildings, and Jo talks frequently about how she can hear everything that goes on. It is a mention of pee that has happened at least 4 times. Mostly it is Jo listening to other people pee, specifically women. We'll see how that furthers into the plot, but I don't think it's as crazy as people are making it seem, so I just know that it's gonna get weird from here, or there's going to be more mentions of the golden liquid more than I expect there to be. There is discussions twice about rot. So we had the apples that they purchase and let kind of sit on their counter and then they rot, and now we're getting to a point where Jo is reading in her biology textbook about fungi and how fungi attach themselves to rotting objects. So these are clearly supposed to be visuals for me, the reader, but I have just not connected them to anything yet. I have a feeling that Jo will be the fungi and everything around her will be the rot that she clings to. But we'll see. It's a mystery. There's also the title that comes into question. So Paradise Rot is obviously a play on the John Milton epic poem of Paradise Lost, which was a story of when Satan is, or Lucifer rather, is rejected from heaven, and he kind of takes vengeance as a fallen angel to Adam and to the Lord and blah blah blah. So I feel like Paradise Rot is going to be a specific play on this John Milton poem, so I want to take that into consideration as I'm reading it and see if I can kind of find some similarities. Perhaps Jo is the Lucifer character who is in a new environment, away from Norway, in Australia, in a university, completely away from what she primarily knew growing up. So we'll see if there's anything else to that. The Garden of Eden has already been brought up in here, which is also obviously a paradise play of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden also appears in the Paradise Lost poem. Interesting things that I've like thought about in the last 50 pages, but nothing interesting in regards to the plot has happened. So I'm going to go to bed now because it is 11 p.m. And I will wake up tomorrow for work, possibly listen to this while I do some menial tasks, and I will probably finish it tomorrow because I only have 100 pages left. It's a very short book, so see you then. Hello, I had a pretty stressful morning with work, but it is lunchtime, so I'm currently boiling an egg for my lunch. Don't worry, I have another egg. If you're worried about my protein intake, don't worry. But as mentioned last night, I do have 100 pages left of Paradise Rot, and I think I'm going to spend my lunchtime listening to this because I think it's only an hour left on the audiobook. The spacing in the writing in the book is like pretty large, so that makes sense to me. I'm going to finish this and I will let you know my thoughts later or tomorrow if I don't have time today. We have a visitor! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Ah! So welcome back to the end of the vlog, and I have to say that we're ending the vlog on another successful read. Paradise Rot, despite being a very slow moving story, was definitely a book that I really enjoyed. This book was, I think, way too smart for me. And when I put it down, I was really confused by the overall themes of the novel because I find Haval puts so much into like such a small number of pages. I did find a review for Paradise Rot that I really utilized to help me understand exactly what was going on in the book. It is by Willow Talks Books, so I will leave a link down below to their video because I think they went into such immaculate detail to describe the themes in the novel, to describe exactly how it feels to read the novel. They say everything that I'm not smart enough to say. So much like this title suggests, it's obviously a play on the temptation of the garden and John Milton's take on the falling of Lucifer as an angel. Our main characters are wrought with dealing with these themes and whether to divulge in them, to divulge in the falling into the temptation or let it linger around. Jo's work on biology and fungi specifically really helps the readers visualize this imagery of rot within their garden that is their apartment. The book is also unabashedly gross. I mentioned it previously in the vlog that before going into this book, the only thing I knew about it was that it mentioned like piss a lot, and I'm happy to report that it does. So this book is like unabashedly appreciative of the grossness of fluids and smells that these two women have, the obsession that Jo has with these fluids, and how it plays into this overall tone of the novel. It is definitely confusing, definitely slow, as I mentioned, the entire way through, but I think once the theme clicks, I became really enamored by the book's intelligence. So overall, I gave this 4 stars. I had to just knock down a star because I did, like I mentioned, find it to be slow. And I was worried that I was going to come out of this book not enjoying it. But in the end, 4 stars, a really immaculate, well-themed, intelligent book in so few pages. I was very impressed. And then just in regards to how it relates to Saltburn, I think there's definitely this obsession between two people of the same gender, this combined like fear but intrigue of a new place, a place where one person is more comfortable with the area than you are. There's no secrets in this area. Everything is sort of mysteriously known within the apartments here or Saltburn in the movie. And the obsession with the place and the obsession with the temptation of the place is merged into this temptation of the person. And I think that that's where Saltburn and this book really connect and vibe. And obviously the obsession with fluids. We don't need to get more into it, but you know, both of these movies have a theme of obsession with a certain fluid. So now that we've done summarizing Paradise Rot, let's just go over my ratings for the books, which were all really, really successful. Milk Fed by Melissa Broder, I gave 4 stars. Really enjoyed my experience with this one and the discussions on eating disorders. Earthlings was probably the most fucked up book that I read in this vlog, and I adored it. I adored it. I don't know what that says about me. I gave this 5 stars. It was like immaculate. And then obviously Paradise Rot, which I gave 4 stars. And that's it. Those are all of the books I read for this reading vlog. Please let me know down below if you've read any of these books. Please, I need to know your thoughts. And if you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I tell you every time, but it does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!